I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
sense.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Amadeus.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Amadeus.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
In my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations. America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get mad. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets. We only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric Malcolm.
Ain't nobody got the courage to stick up for Puff. I do.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start that. Okay, so hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to the original Queen QueenAShakur show. I'm your host, Queen QueenAShakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so let's get those likes up, beloveds. Let's get those likes up. With that all being said, Diddy has another lawsuit, unfortunately for him. So let's get ready to get into it. All right. Everyone, be sure to hit that like button, okay? Also, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell, click the word all, so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. And for those of you who don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Okay? And so let's get ready to get into it. All right. So hello, Desmond, Courtney J, Kathy B, Beverly's in the house, Mr. Elevation, the lovely T, Deronda. All right. Shout out to my moderators putting in work. Hundia is here. Okay. Bronze Flat Power God, Donna. All right, RG Titan, I see you, beloved. Shout out to everyone chatting, everyone tuning into the Queen. I see you, Helen. Okay, so let's get this party started. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Hey, monster on the beat, ho, Debo, any rap nigga, he a freak throw, man down, call like Amber Lambs, tell him breathe, bro, Nella nigga to the cross, he walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni ass niggas trying to see Compton? The industry can hate me, fuck them all and they mama. How many options you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on this body, I'm John Stockton. Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up to score with him. Walk him down whole time, I know he got some hoe in him. Pole on him, extort shit, bully the flow on him. Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to cell block 1. To any bitch that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him. They tell me Chubb's the only one that get your hand-me-downs. And party at the party playing with his nose now. And Baka got a weird case, why is he around? Certified lover boy, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 wop. That fuck him up. Wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a bitch, ain't you tired? They not like us, they not like us, they not like us. They not like us, they not like us, they not like us. You think the Bay gon' let you disrespect Pop, nigga? I think that Oakland show gon' be your last stop, nigga. Hey, monster on the beat, ho, Debo, any rap nigga, he a freak throw, man down, call like Amber Lambs, tell him breathe, bro, Nella nigga to the cross, he walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni ass niggas trying to see Compton? The industry can hate me, fuck them all and they mama. How many options you really got? I mean, it's too.
All right, let's get into it. So that woke you all up, I'll bet you. Okay, somebody please tell me, why was King Combs' shoes squeaking like that while he was dancing? All right, so let's get into it. Another lawsuit for Diddy. So sad for him. I told you guys days ago that he's having a bad week, and it's only getting worse. Please pay attention. With that all being said, this came out yesterday evening, and I wasn't going to get back on here. I said I'll talk about it in the morning, honey. But I did do a TikTok, so let's get into it before I whip out these legal docs. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Dr. QueenAShakur. So Diddy has just been slapped with another lawsuit. And this is from someone who claims that they had a relationship with him back in the 90s. They met in 1994, and he was supposed to mentor her and help her with her career. But things took a turn for the worse. Let's get into it. According to the lawsuit, April Lampros is a former Fashion Institute technology student who met Diddy, and as I said, he promised that he was going to mentor this poor woman. Lampros says that things quickly manifested into an aggressive, coercive, abusive relationship that was based solely on sex. She recalls 4 different terrifying encounters with Diddy. One that specifically happened in 1996, where he forced her and Kim Porter to take these illegal substances that sound like the letters X, T, and C. Please pay attention. Lampros also says that Diddy forced her and Kim Porter to have intercourse and that he forced pills down their throats to make sure that they swallowed it. She said on the night of the encounter, she felt lethargic and lightheaded. So she said she rejected his idea of having intercourse with Kim, but Diddy quickly reminded her that she wasn't in charge of the situation, that he was. And that in fact, if she didn't do what he said, well, she could lose her job. You see, at the time, she was an intern for Arista, which was the parent company of his Bad Boy record label, run by his baby daddy and sugar daddy, Clive Davis. Please pay attention. Lampros says the first time that Diddy assaulted her was in 1995 when they met up at a bar in New York City, and he basically was trying to pressure her to have all these drinks. She said she started feeling unwell after just a few sips, and then she was guided to a car to leave with him. Now, she says the car took them to a hotel, and when she was on the hotel bed, he just mounted her and started forcibly kissing her. When she tried to turn her head, he grabbed her face and continued on. And then he got her in her birthday suit and then just went on and had his way with her, even though she was trying to tell him to stop because she was feeling real sick. He didn't care. Please pay attention. Now, she says she finally passed out and that months after the incident, he continued to send her cards, flowers, and just gifts, trying to lure her back in. And one of the cards that he sent is included in the lawsuit. It was sent for Valentine's Day, as you can see here. So he was trying to get her back in his good graces after all of that. She says finally she gave in and she decided to meet up with him to discuss new business opportunities and, thinking about giving him a second chance. But then she says another incident happened in 1995, one day when they were leaving his apartment and they were headed for dinner. In the parking garage, he pushed her down to her knees and unzipped his pants. And you can imagine what he had her to do. She says Diddy was slightly inebriated, and after the incident, he was angry, threatening, and forceful. She says that he told her basically if she tried to get away from him, distance herself or whatever, he would completely blackball her and blacklist her from the industry, and he also threatened her with physical violence. Now, she says that years later, after she severed ties with him, she found out that he'd actually recorded some of the encounters when they were having relations and showed it to other people. Now, she's the 6th woman to detail assault allegations against Diddy in a lawsuit. She says that she permanently cut ties with Diddy in 1998. Lawsuit filed by Lampros' attorney Tyrone Blackburn names Diddy, Bad Boy Records, Arista Records, and its owner, Sony Music Entertainment, as the respondents. Okay, so this is getting all real crazy. Diddy, he doesn't know what to do, I'm sure. At the end of the day, all of his skeletons are literally coming out of the closet in real time. And I said that after that video of him assaulting Cassie at the hotel, I knew that more people were going to come out because more people now feel, emboldened. They feel empowered. They feel like people are going to believe them. People are going to side with them. People who were afraid to speak up before because of criticism, because the fear of people not believing them or possibly them being threatened or whatever. Now they have the courage because they see that many people now see Diddy for exactly who and what he is. And so, yeah, this is all looking real bad for him. I'm sorry, but this has to be the worst week ever for Diddy. Please pay attention. I also find it very interesting that Diddy has the nerve and audacity to have the Haitian goddess Izili Dantor tattooed on his back. This goddess is supposed to represent protection for women and children, something that he obviously knows nothing about. Please pay attention. Diddy needs to have several seats. Oh, Diddy needs to have several seats. This is also egregious. So let me tell you all something. I just want you all to remember that before Diddy's attorneys came out and said that he didn't say Cassie's name because he couldn't say it, I told you all that the day before, that he couldn't say her name because I know how NDAs work. See, somebody, I'm not going to call their name, but they were saying that basically because after he settled with Cassie, they probably took the videotape from her, the copy that she had, and put it in an NDA that she couldn't talk about or any of that. But that's obtuse. You know why that's obtuse? Because what he did to her by assaulting her in that hotel lobby or in the hotel hallway, that is a crime. And an NDA, I told you all numerous of times that an NDA does not protect people, okay, from when they commit crimes. If the person wants to talk about a crime, they absolutely can. That has nothing to do with an NDA. Okay, it doesn't protect you from legalities, is all I'm saying, as such as you committing something illegal. Okay, Lisa Jackie said that man is beyond help. Absolutely, beloved. Thank you for your donation to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Absolutely. At this point, who else is going to come out? I mean, I don't even think Diddy remembers all of the people that he has wronged and all of the women that he's essayed. He probably doesn't even remember all of them because it's probably been so many. This is all so crazy. But let's get into it because Kim Porter is mentioned in this lawsuit and it's not good, okay? And with that all being said, don't let me forget to tell you guys after we go through the documentation, don't let me forget to show you the videos where there's an industry insider going all in on Cassie's husband, Alex Fine, and then there's someone else, a comedian, going in on Cassie. Said Cassie ain't ish, okay? So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. So like step, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now we're going to get into these documents. I'm going to put the first page up here on the screen. I'm not going to keep the whole thing up here so I can move through it quicker. All right, so let's get into it. Now, you can see it has Sean Combs, Bad Boy Records, Arista Records, which is a subsidiary of Sony Music Entertainment, and John and Jane Doe's 1 through 10 and ABC Core 1 through 10. And she has the same attorney as Lil Rod, Liza Gardner, and so on and so forth, Tyrone Blackburn. Now, Plaintiff Lambros brings this action seeking injunctive, declaratory, and monetary relief against defendants in violation of the Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Law, Gender-Motivated Violence Act. Okay, this cause of action is timely under the Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Law, Gender-Motivated Violence Act, because it arises out of conduct perpetrated against plaintiff who was the statutory age or older at the time. Now, this suit arises out of the actions of the defendant, Sean Combs, Bad Boy Records, Arista Records, and a subsidiary of Sony Music Entertainment, John and Jane Doe's 1 through 10 and ABC Core 1 through 10 and their participation in the harm visited upon plaintiff April Lambros. Now, April Lambros is a Caucasian female and a United States citizen who was at all relevant times in the action or to the action, a resident and domiciled in the state of New York. Mr. Combs is a United States citizen and was at all relevant times a resident and domiciled in the state of New York. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs is currently domiciled in both California and Florida. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs divides his time equally between both states. Now, I'm going to skip past some of the stuff we don't need to know. Like sub, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, so it goes on to say, during the relevant period, defendants ABC Core 1 through 10 are currently unknown entities who employed plaintiff or aided and or abetted in the commission of conduct complained herein. As the parties engage in discovery, plaintiff retains the right to amend the complaint to add these entities or individuals by name. Now, at the time, Ms. Lambros was a college student at the Fashion Institute of Technology, known as FIT, studying fashion design and marketing. To impress her, Mr. Combs would often invite her to Bad Boy recording studios in New York City. Now, so with that all being said, there are a few pictures in this lawsuit, which I will put on the screen as they come up. Okay, this is the picture they're on right now. That's him and Ms. Lambros. When she met Mr. Combs, Ms. Lambros shared with him her dreams of working in the fashion industry, and Mr. Combs promised to mentor her and help her by introducing her to music and fashion industry executives, as well as assisting her with finding work. So he was making a bunch of promises, just like he's done in the past. he's been accused of doing in the past. Please pay attention. Now, he sent Miss Lampros a Valentine's Day card in 1994. Now, this was after one of the incidents. Hold on, let me put this up on the screen. There you see it right there. Now, Mr. Combs went so far as to invite Miss Lampros to his first Father's Day celebration. Now, mind you, this man just had a child with Misa Hilton, and he's inviting her to the celebration. And she kept these receipts because there's the invite right there. Happy Daddy's Day celebration. And that was June 19th, 1994. After a month after the Father's Day event, Mr. Combs invited Miss Lampros to an exclusive bad boy party with performances by Usher, Craig Mack, and the Notorious B.I.G. There's the invite right there. Now, upon information and belief, what Mr. Combs displayed as a kind gesture quickly manifested into an aggressive, coercive, and abusive relationship based on sex. Now, these acts were not isolated to the state of New York, as Mr. Combs would fly Miss Lampros to Atlanta to see him, where they would spend time together. Miss Lampros would also fly to Miami to see Mr. Combs at his home. And then there's a picture of her at his residence. There it is right there. That's her at his home. Now, upon information and belief throughout the years with Mr. Combs, there were 4 terrifying sexual encounters Miss Lampros endured. According to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs had a terrible temper and often threatened to harm her if she failed to do what he said, if he witnessed her talking to other men, or if she failed to take his phone calls. This sounds all like the same stuff Cassie was saying. Now, according to Miss Lampros, she was also not allowed to talk about her relationship with Mr. Combs to anyone, because he did not want anyone to know that he was seeing her because she was a white woman. Now, let me say something about that. Now, see right there. I don't believe that. I don't believe that that's the reason he didn't want her talking about it, because he dated J-Lo, right? And at the end of the day, I don't think it was because she was white. I think that it was another reason. Maybe because he was still with Misa Hilton, okay? Maybe because he was still with Misa Hilton. And at some point during this relationship with this woman, he was also with J-Lo. So how does that make sense? Her and J-Lo are the same skin tone. So how does that make sense? I think it was because, for one, he didn't want people he didn't want the other woman or women finding out about her. That's what I think, because he was in a very public relationship with J-Lo at one point during the time he was with her, according to her own words. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Now, the first horrific sexual encounter occurred in 1995 when Miss Lampros met up with Mr. Combs in south of Houston Street, known as Soho, at a bar. Now, she was introduced to a woman, and the name is redacted, and the group lightly drank throughout that evening. At the time, Miss Lampros was a college student and did not drink any alcohol. Due to Mr. Combs' delusional and violent outburst, she succumbed to pressure and reluctantly drank with Mr. Combs and redacted. As they drank, Miss Lampros began to feel uneasy. At this point, she had only had a few sips of the drink. Now, Miss Lampros and the other person's name is redacted, were guided to a vehicle and left the bar with Mr. Combs. They arrived at the Millennium Hotel. While at the hotel, Miss Lampros continued to feel uneasy. Here is the question I have. So this person whose name is redacted, I'm wondering who this person is and if possibly it was one of those SEX workers. I wonder if this was an SEX worker whose name is redacted. I just have questions. Now, it goes on to say, she continued to feel uneasy. She recalls feeling like the walls were closing in on her. She began to feel like
I don't see a feel like the walls in your contact.
Hold on. Why is Siri talking? Hold on. Hold on, beloveds.
I don't.
Okay, let me continue. Now, it goes on to say, she began to feel like the walls were closing in on her. She was laid out on the hotel bed with Mr. Combs when he forced himself on top of her. Mr. Combs began to kiss Miss Lampros and as she turned her head, trying to avoid the interaction, he grabbed her face. Mr. Combs continued to kiss her forcefully. Miss Lampros informed him that she wasn't feeling well, but he ignored her words and continued to take off her clothing. Miss Lampros tried to hold on to her clothing, but she felt weak and powerless in the situation. Miss Lampros pleaded with Mr. Combs to stop, and he ignored her. Miss Lampros could not process why this was occurring and felt a loss of control. Miss Lampros was being raped by Mr. Combs, and she soon passed out. The next morning, Miss Lampros was awoken by the sun peering through the drapes. She was nude, sore, and confused. Miss Lampros quickly got out of the bed, clothed herself, and left the hotel room as fast as she could. This all sounds nefarious. I'm sorry. It is really sounding egregious here. Now, months after the first grape, Mr. Combs pursued Miss Lampros. He sent her gifts, cards, and flowers, and used his power and access to music events to lure Miss Lampros back to him. Miss Lampros was a hopeful yet naive college student and took Mr. Combs at his word and believed that the first grape was a possible mulligan and decided to give him a second chance. At that time, Miss Lampros was a college student in her late teens and early 20s. Her decision to return to Mr. Combs after being raped is indicative of many assault survivors who return to their abusers. Miss Lampros agreed to meet with Mr. Combs to discuss the business opportunities that he promised, as he knew her passion was to pursue a career in fashion and music. Now, they met up and talked near his Manhattan apartment, which was somewhere near 30th Street at that time. Miss Lampros was under the impression that what had occurred months prior between them would not happen again. She was holding on to Mr. Combs' promises of access to his industry to pursue her passion. Mr. Combs was respectful, regained her trust, and used their common interactions with Arista Records, the parent company of Bad Boy Records, and Miss Lampros was an intern at Arista. Things seemed to be normal between the two until the second incident of sexual assaults. Now, during a second incident of sexual assault, Mr. Combs and Miss Lampros were in a parking garage near his Manhattan apartment. She believes it was somewhere near 30th Street. They were headed to dinner, and Mr. Combs was slightly inebriated. Now, as they headed toward the garage, the parking garage, Mr. Combs grabbed Miss Lampros by the waist and forced her down to her knees. He quickly unzipped his pants, exposing his cucumber. He then grabbed her hair, wrapping it around his fist. He then forced his cucumber, to her mouth, okay, and demanded Miss Lampros perform. This is all nefarious. As Miss Lampros' eyes filled with tears, she could see the parking garage attendant witnessing this horrific assault. This is all crazy. Do y'all hear this? This is all so nefarious. Please pay attention. This is absolutely nefarious. Okay, Dorada said his breath was probably stinking. This is egregious, but let me continue. I absolutely cannot with Diddy. Oh, this is a lot, but let me go on. So, says that, hold on, I'm trying to find my place. Okay, so, he was blinded, or the parking garage attendant witnessed this horrific assault. This had no impact on Mr. Combs. He was blinded by his lustful desire to pleasure himself at Miss Lamprose's expense. Oh, pervert. Now, when Mr. Combs was done with her, he told her to get up. Miss Lamprose was in shock, morally depleted, embarrassed, and in physical agony because of Mr. Combs' violent yanking her down to her knees and pulling her hair. Once again, Miss Lamprose made the decision to distance herself, and once again, Mr. Combs came back with gifts and empty promises. Miss Lamprose was not moved. She had enough and decided to focus on her studies and leave Mr. Combs for good. Unbeknownst to Miss Lamprose, Mr. Combs was not good at accepting rejection. He immediately switched his approach and became angry, threatening, and forceful. He developed this mobster persona, and Miss Lamprose was in fear of him. Mr. Combs began calling Miss Lamprose incessantly. Now I want you all to pay attention. Says that he began calling her incessantly. Isn't that what Cassie said in her lawsuit, if I'm not mistaken, that he was calling her incessantly? And also, let's not forget that Claudia Jordan said that when those pictures of her and Diddy were posted on Media Takeout, the next morning she awoke and there was 52 text messages from him. So that sounds just like something that he does. These things are all adding up. Please pay attention and put the pieces of the puzzle together, because see, this is why you know all these people cannot be lying, because some of these people are saying the exact same things, and not the very shocking details in some cases, but in some cases, just the little minuscule bits and pieces of details are all adding up. Okay, so just pay attention to that. So, goes on to say, Mr. Combs began calling Miss Lamprose incessantly and would often call her just to say, if anyone is in your apartment, I will beat your ass and theirs. No, he didn't. Now, Miss Lamprose's reasonable fear of Mr. Combs left her feeling stuck with him and with no way out. He knew where she lived and worked and had connections to ensure her compliance with his demands. She felt that if she disobeyed him, he would take away her dreams of pursuing a career in his world. Mr. Combs would also threaten to blacklist her in the industry if she tried to mess with him in any way. Miss Lamprose's dreams and everything that she's been working hard for were in the palms of his hands. This is what Diddy commonly did to people. I believe this is what he commonly did to people, both men and women. He wanted what he wanted. If they didn't give it to him, this is what they got. Threats of being destroyed, losing your career, being blacklisted, and all of that's what I absolutely believe Diddy was doing. Okay, this is all alleged, and mind you, Mr. Combs has not yet responded to this lawsuit, but in the fact that he's previously said that the allegations were all false, so clearly this is all speculation and conjecture. But at the end of the day, I find it also interesting. Because all of these cases seem to have similar accusations, okay? And similar little tidbits in here, like I said. So anyway, one night in 1996, Mr. Combs ordered Miss Lamprose to his Manhattan apartment. Mr. Combs' residence was in the 30s and parked near the Midtown Tunnel. When Miss Lamprose arrived, Kim Porter and two other people were present. Mr. Combs introduced the women. They went to a nightclub. After the club closed, they returned to Mr. Combs' apartment and they began a night of drinking. Sounds like a freak off in the making. Please pay attention. A couple of hours into the evening, Mr. Combs forced Miss Porter and Miss Lamprose to take ecstasy. Mr. Combs instructed the women to open their mouths. When they complied with the demand, Mr. Combs forced the pill down their throats to ensure the pills were swallowed. Mr. Combs' hands were so far down Miss Lamprose's throat, she gagged. Oh, this is awful. He even checked under their tongues. Yeah, this is absolutely egregious, okay? Please pay attention. Now, with the combination of alcohol and ecstasy, Miss Lamprose recalls feeling lightheaded and lethargic. After being forced to take the ecstasy, Mr. Combs then demanded Kim Porter to have sexual intercourse with Ms. Lampros. Ms. Lampros vocally opposed the idea, but he quickly reminded her that she wasn't in charge and that he was, and basically said that if she didn't do what he said, he reminded her that he can just destroy her career. Okay, told her, you're not in charge of this situation. I am. And basically made her do what he said. This is all so egregious. I just want you all to pay attention because Diddy is absolutely the devil. He is absolutely the devil. So shortly after this event, Ms. Lampros slowly distanced herself from Mr. Combs, even though she was reluctant to be with him. He used industry connections and invitations to exclusive events to keep her attached. Mr. Combs went so far as to invite her to Kim Porter's birthday celebration. Now, y'all know this is absolutely crazy. Lisa said, I guess he would say he was in a dark place. You know, that is what he said about Cassie when that video came out. It said that he was in a dark place. At the end of the day, Diddy is just low down and dirty. Okay? Just low down and dirty. And so anyway, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Don't forget to like and share. And here's another thing too. So he basically, when he was straightening her and all that stuff to make her do things with Kim, he also told her, you know, she was at the time, she was interning for Arista. And he threatened her with that. And you know, Arista was the parent company of his Bad Boy record label. And of course, run by Clive Davis, who was Diddy's alleged sugar daddy. Okay, and all of that. And so, yeah, he had her right in the palm of his hands. And then, while her and Kim were doing the do, he sat there, okay, told her she had no control of the situation as she could lose her job. At the time, Lampros was interning at Arista Records, the parent company of his Bad Boy record label. And she said, as this was going on, he sat nearby jerking his chicken. Okay, that's what he was doing while her and Kim were doing this. And he was doing that for some time before pushing Kim Porter off of Miss Lampros, and forcing himself on her, basically, and raping her. So she attempted to end communication with Mr. Combs, but he persisted and invited her to Kim Porter's birthday party. And she kept a receipt of that as well. Let me pull that up on the screen. Diddy is awful. That's the invitation to Kim Porter's birthday party right there. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. So he invited her to Kim Porter's birthday party. Okay, then in or about 1998, Miss Lampros found the courage to end her relationship with Mr. Combs. She had finally suffered enough. However, this ending was one-sided. Mr. Combs and Kim Porter weren't done with Lampros. Kim Porter was very resentful of Miss Lampros after she was forced to engage in sex acts with Miss Lampros. She dined at Miss Lampros' place of employment, a bar named Sliver, which was in Soho. According to Miss Lampros, Miss Porter was enraged when she saw her. According to Miss Lampros, 2 days later, Miss Porter called her employer and complained to the manager, alleging that Miss Lampros tried to poison her. She then stated that her boyfriend was Sean Combs and could have his business shut down if he did not immediately terminate Miss Lampros. And then later that evening, the manager told her he had to let her go because Mr. Combs called and demanded that he fire her. Miss Lampros believes that Miss Porter got Miss Lampros fired in retaliation for what Mr. Combs made them do. According to Miss Lampros, her boss was afraid of Mr. Combs and his contacts and told her he had to do it, or Mr. Combs could risk getting his business closed. Now, Miss Lampros called Mr. Combs and he showed no remorse that she was out of a job. In fact, he laughed about it. Diddy is low down, honey, and cold-blooded and nefarious. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. Now, at the time she ended their relationship, Miss Lampros calls Mr. Combs. Oh my goodness, y'all remember what somebody else said about Diddy? Hold on, listen to this. I think it was Liza Gardner who said it, if I'm not mistaken, but says, at the time she ended their relationship, Miss Lampros recalls Mr. Combs' cucumber being adolescently in length and width. Ha! She recalls him being circumcised and remembers a tattoo on his chest. Now I want you all to pay attention because somebody else said it was adolescent. Do you all remember that? The woman who accused him and Aaron Hall. Do you all remember that? One's in the chat if you all remember that. One's in the chat if you all remember that. The lady who said that Diddy and Aaron Hall assaulted her. She said the same thing because she talked about Aaron Hall, having big energy, and Diddy having adolescence. She used the exact same word. This is all nefarious, honey. This is why he goes around being mad and angry, I'm sure. But let me continue. All right, you all are putting ones in the chat. I just noticed these things, but I digress. And so goes on to say, Diddy, how are you going to get out of this? This is all crazy. All right, so while in a relationship with Mr. Combs, Miss Lampros was a student at FIT. She had a passion for fashion, and Mr. Combs knew it. Mr. Combs promised Miss Lampros several working opportunities in the fashion and music industry, and the two often discussed his plans to launch his own clothing brand. Within months of Miss Lampros ending their relationship, Mr. Combs launched Sean John. Let me tell you all something. At the end of the day, how do you know that Diddy was just running game on her? How do you know that Diddy was just using her for relations, to get what he wanted? It's because here's the thing. If he really cared about this woman, why was she working at a restaurant? All that money he had. Why was she working at a restaurant? Why didn't he employ her? I know she interned at Arista, but usually interns aren't paid. So why didn't he give her a job? She was working at a restaurant. I'm sorry, you're dating a millionaire, but you're working at a restaurant. Yeah, she should have known Diddy didn't give a darn about her, honey. I'm sorry. But let me continue. According to Miss Lampros, she saw Mr. Combs at an event at Rockefeller Center in or about the end of 2000, towards the beginning of 2001. At the time, Miss Lampros says Mr. Combs may have been filming a season of Making the Band. Now, according to Miss Lampros, when Mr. Combs saw her, he approached Miss Lampros and asked the camera crew to turn off the cameras to not film their interaction. According to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs asked her how she was, expressed to her that he missed her, and asked if she would leave the event at Rockefeller Center with him. Miss Lampros rejected Mr. Combs and left. According to Miss Lampros, later that evening, he kept calling her and asking if she would come to his apartment on Park Avenue, but she said no. He even offered to send a driver to pick her up. Finally, he offered to come with a driver to pick her up. According to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs does not like the word no. He called a few more times, so she stopped answering the phone. Now, according to Miss Lampros, a few days later, he called again, begging to see her. Reluctantly and regrettably, she allowed him to come over to her apartment located at 477 Central Park West to hear what he had to say. Miss Lampros figured it was during the day and doubted that he would try to harm her. Honey, he couldn't have come near me. I'm sorry. He couldn't come anywhere near me, okay? Sorry, after all of that. Then he laughed when she lost her job, please. Now, according to Miss Lampros, when she opened the door, his security was sitting on the stairwell. Knowing the security was there made Miss Lampros feel a little better about letting him in. They sat on the couch and began talking. According to Miss Lampros, Mr. Combs began apologizing for his past behaviors. He started telling her that he was a changed man. Isn't that what he said in that apology, that little fake apology he gave? That he was trying to be a better man and change and all that. He then showered her with compliments, telling her how good she looked and kept reminiscing about their prior SEX life. He then began dropping hints about them having SEX. Miss Lampros rejected his advances. Honey, he only came over there for one thing. Diddy just doesn't let it go. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Mr. Combs violently grabbed her and forced himself onto her. He began kissing her and touching her against her will. And at that point, Miss Lampros fought him off after she quickly realized that it was a big mistake to have allowed him to visit her. She told him to leave, as she felt that he just wanted to use her for sex and hadn't changed it all. Well, that's exactly what he wanted. This is all nefarious. Even more disgusting was the fact that Miss Lampros knew that Mr. Combs was involved in a very public relationship with Jennifer Lopez at the time. There is a picture of him and J-Lo. Now, according to several media reports from that time, Mr. Combs ended his relationship with Jennifer Lopez due to infidelity in February of 2001. This was around the same time that Mr. Combs sexually assaulted Miss Lampros. Luckily for Miss Lampros, the couch was right near the door of the apartment, so it was easy for her to reach for the door, open it, and demand for him to leave. She ensured that his security could hear her telling him to exit. She was afraid that Mr. Combs would have raped her, as he does not take no for an answer, and had a history of violently handling her and forcing her to perform fellatio on him. So anyway, this is all so crazy. Now, Miss Lampros is in possession of several of Mr. Combs' phone numbers throughout the years, and she kept those phone numbers too. There's some of his phone numbers that she had. Here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention because these last two women seem to have some evidence. She's got receipts. The other lady possibly has his DNA because she kept the clothes from the night that she accuses him of having assaulted her. And she said she's had them all this time wrapped in a plastic bag. So they likely, if what she said is true, have his DNA on there. This is all nefarious. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on, finding my place. Okay, here I go. Okay, so according to Miss Lampros, in or about 2023, Miss Lampros was at a function and a gentleman whose name is redacted informed the man Miss Lampros was with or was dating that he should reconsider dating her because he personally saw a video of her and Sean Combs having sex. Now, mind you, this is all these years later. This is 2023. This is last year. So this stuff is still affecting her, allegedly. She said she was out with this man that she was dating. Another guy comes up and says, hey, you might want to reconsider dealing with her because I saw a video that where she was having relations with P. Diddy. So according to Miss Lampros, the redacted name shared that he saw the tape during the summer of 1997. According to Miss Lampros, according to Miss Lampros, she was told that Mr. Combs apparently recorded them having sex without her knowing and showed it to multiple people. Wow. What a piece of work Diddy is, if all this is true. Miss Lampros incorporates by reference all proceedings, paragraphs, and realleges them as if set forth fully herein. The defendant committed battery against Miss Lampros when he penetrated Miss Lampros orally and through her vajayjay against her will, as detailed in the 4 encounters above. In addition, Mr. Combs physically assaulted Miss Lampros when he pulled her hair and forced her to perform fellatio on him in an open parking lot, an open parking garage, okay, with a parking attendant watching. This is all crazy. So, defendant Combs intentionally and without her consent attacked Miss Lampros to satisfy his sexual desires. Under all circumstances, the defendant's physical contact with Miss Lampros was offensive and wrongful. Defendant Combs continued to attack Ms. Lampros despite her attempts to thwart his actions. The defendant's conduct was the direct and approximate cause of Ms. Lampros' past and future substantial damages, including significant pain and suffering, lasting psychological and financial harm, loss of dignity, and invasion of privacy. The defendant's actions constitute sexual offenses as defined in Article 130 of the New York Penal Law, including but not limited to sexual misconduct. Okay, and forcible touching. Now, the plaintiff's claim for battery is thus timely under the Gender Motivated Violence Act. Second cause of action. Ms. Lampros incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs and realleges them set forth fully herein. As described above, defendant Combs frightened and placed plaintiff in apprehension of harm when he physically assaulted her within the city of New York. Defendant forcibly touched and attempted and or threatened to touch plaintiff's intimate areas and or touch her with his intimate body parts. As a result of defendant Combs' conduct, plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer harm, including physical injury, severe emotional distress, humiliation, anxiety, and other consequential damages for which she is entitled to an award of monetary damages and other relief. The conduct of defendant Combs, described as willful, wanton, and malicious, at all relevant times, defendants acted with conscious disregard for plaintiff's rights and feelings, acted with the knowledge of or with reckless disregard for the fact that his conduct was certain to cause injury and or humiliation to plaintiff, and intended to cause fear, physical injury, and or pain and suffering to plaintiff. By virtue of the foregoing, plaintiff is entitled to recover punitive damages. This cause of action is timely under the Gender Motivated Violence Act. Wow. Third cause of action, negligent infliction of emotional distress. Ms. Lampros incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs and realleges them as if set forth fully herein. The defendant's conduct created an unreasonable risk of causing emotional distress to plaintiff, and the defendants knew or should have known that such conduct was likely to result in emotional distress that might and or likely would cause illness or bodily harm. The defendant's or the plaintiff's emotional distress was foreseeable to the defendants as a direct and proximate result of the negligent conduct of the defendants. Plaintiff suffered and will continue to suffer severe emotional distress. Defendant's conduct was wanton, malicious, willful, and or cruel, entitling plaintiff to punitive damages. This cause of action is timely under the Adult Survivors Act because it arises out of conduct perpetrated against plaintiff who was the statutory age or older at the time of the conduct, which constitutes multiple sexual offenses as defined in Article 130 of the New York Penal Law. Fourth cause of action. Ms. Lampros incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs and realleges them as if set forth fully herein. The above described conduct of defendant Combs, included but not limited to Combs' sexual assault of plaintiff in New York City, constitutes a crime of violence against plaintiff and is a crime of violence motivated by gender as defined. Okay, the term crime of violence means an act or a series of acts that would constitute a misdemeanor or felony against the person as defined in state or federal law, or that would constitute a misdemeanor or a felony against property as defined in state or federal law if the conduct presents a serious risk of physical injury to another, whether or not those acts have actually resulted in criminal charges, prosecution, or a conviction. And the term crime of violence motivated by gender means a crime of violence committed because of a gender or on the basis of gender and due at least in part to an animus based on the victim's gender. Okay, so what do you all have to say about this? Because this is a whole lot. Diddy, I don't know what Diddy has going on. This is absolutely nefarious. As detailed above, Ms. Lampros worked for Arista Records during Mr. Combs' assault. Bad Boy Records was a subsidiary of Arista Records At the time, Ms. Lampros reported her to her manager, Jeff, who was an agent of Arista Records. Now, defendants AR and SME, which is Sony Music Entertainment, enabled Mr. Combs' commission of the crimes of violence motivated by gender, and thus are liable under the New York City Victims of Gender Motivated Protection Acts. So, defendants A&R and SME enabled or participated in the sexual abuse of plaintiff. Sufficient policies and procedure, they should have had sufficient policies and procedures in place to prevent sexual assault, properly implement policies and procedures to prevent sexual assault, take reasonable measures to ensure that policies to prevent sexual assault were working, train their employees or identifying sexual assault and inappropriate workplace behaviors, protect their employees from sexual assault, and adhere to the applicable standard of care. Defendants Arista Records enabled or participated in the sexual abuse of the plaintiff because defendants failed to timely and properly educate, train, supervise, and or monitor their agents or employees regarding policies and procedures that should be followed when sexual abuse is suspected or observed. Prior to Combs' sexually assaulting the plaintiff, Arista Records knew or should have known that Combs was not fit to be in a position of authority. Defendants by and through their agents, servants, and or employees became aware or should have become aware of Combs' propensity to commit sexual assault and of the risk to plaintiff's safety. At the very least, defendants knew or should have known that they did not have sufficient information about whether or not their leaders, managers, and people were safe to be in positions of power. Defendants Arista Records knew or should have known that Combs posed a risk of sexual assault. Defendants Arista failed to properly supervise Combs and protect plaintiff from a known danger, thereby enabling Combs his repeated sexual assaults on the plaintiff. Defendants Arista Records negligently deemed Mr. Combs was fit to be in a position of authority, and or that any previous suitability problems Mr. Combs had were fixed and cured. Okay, and or that Mr. Combs would not commit acts of sexual assault, and or that Mr. Combs would not injure others. Moreover, defendant Arista Records enabled the sexual abuse of plaintiff by actively maintaining and employing Mr. Combs in a position of power and authority through which Mr. Combs had control over people, including plaintiff. As a direct and approximate result of the aforementioned crime of violence and gender-motivated violence, plaintiff has sustained and will continue to sustain monetary damages, physical injury, pain and suffering, and serious psychological and emotional distress, entitling her to an award of compensatory and punitive damages, injunctive and declaratory relief, attorney's fees and costs, and other remedies as this court may deem appropriate damages as set forth herein. Well, what do you all have to say? Whew, that was a lot. That was definitely a lot, beloveds. Let me see what y'all talking about. At the end of the day, Mom knew all of it. Mom knows about her child. Oh, I believe her and a whole lot of people knew about it. They knew what was going on with Diddy. They knew what was going on with Diddy. Now, with that all being said, let's get into it because they went in on poor Cassie and accused Cassie of some egregious things. So let's get into it. And this is a clip, just a brief clip. And then also, I want you all to hear, first I think I'm going to let you all hear what this lady had to say about Cassie's husband, this industry insider. What she had to say about Cassie's husband. Like stuff, everyone please like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go.
And men who live off of another man's money are not men. Why don't you have the financial resources to take care of your wife and your daughters? so that any money that she got from Diddy should have gone straight to charity. You're living off of that money, which means you're living off of his money. Every time you spend a dime, you are attached to this man. So you say all of these things, Cassie's husband, whose name I don't even know, but you're attached to him. If you don't like him, if you don't like anything that he represents, you should not like his money either. And if she was awarded the money, that should have went straight to charity. But to live off of it is you being the lowest form of male. Living off of your wife, living off of your wife's pain, and living off of another man's money. Look in the mirror when you say, who is not a real man?
What do you all think about that, beloveds? What do you all think about what she said? Here's the thing. Queen said, wait a second, I gotta go to these comments because y'all are terrible. Hold on. Queen Sam said, Mom gonna have to give up that Bentley to pay for his legal fees. Hold on, this is the one I was looking for. Which, please, I'd be on every beach around the world on his money. Now that she said give it to charity, but at the end of the day, she's saying that he said Diddy wasn't a man because any man who puts their hands on a woman isn't a man. But she's saying any man that lives off of his wife or another man's money is not a man. So what y'all got to say about it? Kim Porter was bisexual and participated in many threesomes with Diddy, men and women. Oh, really, OG Patrice? Possibly, beloveds. That crazy bitch Eric said, B, shut the F up and pay attention. Yeah, it's something else. But she kind of has a point. So anyway, let me continue, honey. Don't even get me started. All right. So anyway, here is what this comedian had to say, some egregious things about Cassie. He kept calling her the B word and all this stuff. I don't know where he got this information from, but he said it was documented. Hey, this is me saying I agree with it, but I'm just telling you all what he said. Please pay attention.
Ain't nobody got the courage to stick up for Puff. I do.
What do you mean?
Go ahead.
Hey, man,
see, you wasn't here, so I want him to hear this.
Cassie ain't the bitch y'all think she is. I always say this, man. Domestic violence is not always abuse because some bitches like to fight. Cassie is the same woman that would go to Puff Daddy's house while Kim Porter was alive and watch Puffy beat on Kim, cuss Kim out, abuse Kim, and laugh at Kim. Kim's friends have came out and it's documented that they say Cassie used to be torturing Kim with Puff. She is not this victim broad that everybody is making her out to be. This is a treacherous bitch. Anytime a woman that is that beautiful is dating a nigga that is that regular looking, she's hustling her pussy. This is a woman that hustles vagina, and we treating her like she a Claire Huxtable or a respectable everyday woman. This bitch is a libido whore. She's libido hungry, and she's money hungry, and she's eating, sucking, and anybody that got the paper. That $30 million settlement she got, a portion of that should go to Kim's kids.
I absolutely cannot with him, honey. He was caping for Diddy a little too hard. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. And you could see Dolores, isn't that her name? She was looking so uncomfortable when he was saying all of that. Can he prove what he is saying? I know, right? He said it was documentation. Where's the document? First of all, how do you document that? I have questions. Okay? Warrior Queen said he was definitely at those parties. Okay, this is all nefarious. At the end of the day, Charlotte said he's a clown. Listen, I don't believe that
Now, even if it's true, we have to look at the fact of the matter that Cassie was young and naive and scared of Diddy. And here's another thing I want to bring to y'all's attention. You know, when I was telling you guys that I believe Cassie's attorneys leaked that tape, that footage, and I said if they did, the feds had to approve it. They had to give the go-ahead, right? And I absolutely believe that her attorneys leaked it. And I told you why. But also, here's another reason why I believe they did it. Because you see, if Cassie participated in anything illegal, in any time that she was dealing with Diddy, if she participated in anything illegal, that tape shows that she was likely forced to do it, that it was against her will. Now, here's the thing. She's going to be the star witness. So with that all being said, even if she did do anything illegal, she would be granted immunity if it was something that still she could be charged for. You know, if it was, if the statute of limitations was open, even if it was something that she had done, they would likely give her immunity because she's going to be testifying on for them, but for the prosecution. But they still want people to see that she was a victim, because otherwise, even if they didn't charge her with anything that she did, if there's something illegal that she did, it could have something to do with morality. And so then people could be looking at her like, oh, she did this, she did that. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's why I definitely think it makes a lot of sense for her attorneys to have released that footage. And as I said, for fake Nancy Drew saying that basically, you know, that the NDA would say that she can't leak that tape, even if she had a copy, she can't even mention it or speak on it. That's not true, okay? That is absolutely not true, because anything that's done illegally is not covered under an NDA. And I've told you all that before, okay? I've told you all that before. You can't do something illegal and then make someone sign an NDA saying that they won't talk about it. That's not how that works, okay? So please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, that Chris Rich Air said, kick rocks, fake Nancy Drew, okay? Honey, she be so busy trying to dispute what I say. That's all it is, honey. But I have facts, unlike her. But with that all being said, Queen Sam said, any man caping for Diddy likes his prostate tickle. That is funny. Okay? Queen, what is your opinion on Jaguar saying Kim gave Cassie a lot of her evidence? I don't know. I heard that before. I heard Jaguar say that before, that she gave her some evidence. And see, that's what makes me think that the stuff that he just said about Cassie is not true. Because I believe that Kim probably did give her some evidence. Okay? And you know, I can't remember where I read this months ago, like when this stuff all started coming out, that Kim met up with Cassie or something like that. And so if Kim met up with Cassie, right, then that would lead me to think that she was cool with Cassie. Let's not forget the pictures of Cassie and Diddy together, and Kim, all of them together. So for Cassie to be sitting there laughing if Kim was getting her butt beat, I don't think so. I just don't think so at the end of the day. People can say anything, but I don't see any proof. And he said that Kim's friends have documented and said that. None of them have come out to my knowledge and said anything as of late. So I don't believe that. I don't believe that. He really should not be calling women bees. And the way he was talking about poor Cassie, that was just all egregious as far as I'm concerned. And he was caping for Diddy. Please pay attention. Okay, that's the main thing, honey. People who cape for Diddy will always try to make excuses and act like it's the other person's fault. Here's the thing. Even if what he said was true, is that supposed to excuse what we all saw in that video? Is that supposed to be an excuse for Diddy? So he's supposed to get a pass? Like, this is all crazy. This is all crazy. So with that all been said, everyone please like and share. Okay, like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. I'm about to conclude this broadcast. We're going live on the backup channel. Moderators, please drop the link to the next video. Moderators, please drop the link to the next video, because we're going live on the backup channel, and it's going to be juicy. So with that all been said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And enjoy your strong end, not your weak end, leaving you in a weakened state of mind. Peace.
Hey, yo, Nick.
Hit 'em with that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they